Women want three things from a man: for him to own his mistakes, for him to listen empathetically, and for him to strive for his potential. If a man can't do these three things, it shows women that he isn't capable of the 5 traits that she needs, which shows he can do this. And the first one is confidence, that it's being trustworthy, that he has integrity, respect, and that he's mature. Because it's very simple. Women don't need a man to be perfect. What they need is a man to own his mistakes and put a plan in place to fix them. And when he does that, she moves from being his mother into being his lover. And so, men, if you're having a problem not enjoying as much time with the loving part of the woman in your life, most likely it's because of the 3 things I'm going to talk about here. And so this video is critical for men to watch, but also women. If you aren't getting these three things from a man, it means you need to look in the mirror. How did you let yourself choose a man like this? How did you let yourself get caught in a situation where you allowed poor behavior? So men, this is about, helping you step up so you can get the relationship you want and get the results you want. And women, this is the same thing. If you're not getting treated the way you want by a man, it's because you're not standing up for these behaviors. All right, so let's get started with the first one: own your mistakes. As I said, when men own their mistakes, women stop being their mother and they start becoming your lover. It's that simple. If you're not spending any time in the bedroom, it's because she's your mother and you're sitting there. Usually what's happened is you're waiting for her to point out your mistakes so you can play the victim and complain about how she's nagging you just like your mother, and you get to blame her. Well, that's not her fault. It is your job as a man with confidence, trustworthiness, integrity, self-respect, and maturity to stand up and own his mistakes. Now, I'm going to give you a 5-step process to show you, because most men don't even know how to do this. And frankly, most women don't demand this of their men. So this is critical. If you're either side, you will benefit greatly from this 5-step process. And as I said, women, you need to demand this of the men in your life, and men, you need to start doing this if you want to get rid of the mother and bring back the lover. All right? Step number 1 is you go to the woman in your life the second you recognize you made a mistake and you own it. Honey, we need to talk. You take the initiative. Now, we're human. We don't always see our mistakes. The second it's pointed out to us, we pause, because sometimes we get blamed, but we think about it, and if it's true, then we go, yep, you're right. We immediately take ownership. There's no defensiveness. We don't obfuscate. We don't push it off. We immediately take ownership. Step 2, when we let her know that we've made a mistake, we let her know what the consequences are. Because why does Mama Bear come out? She's scared because you're not standing up and taking care of things, or she's worried you're not going to stand up. And so that's why you let her know, here's the landscape, here's what's happened. I made this choice, or someone else made this choice, and we made previous choices, and now we're in this place, and here are all the consequences. Here's the potential danger in our life that we have to now deal with. That's step number 2. Step number 3 is you let her know, here are the experts, the people I'm going to draw on and talk to gather information about this problem. If it's a house issue, is it a contractor? Is it an electrician, a plumber? If it's an emotional issue, have you talked to counselors, coaches, someone like me, an emotional expert? Who are you going to bring in to this process so that you can make the best decision possible? Because remember, you're confident. You don't need to be right. You don't need to be the one. It doesn't have to be your way. What matters is the best decision possible is made. And so you seek out the best information possible. So honey, I'm going to Google this. I'm going to talk to this person. Here's my plan of how I'm going to gather information to try and make the best decision possible. Step number 4. here are my ideas on how I think we might fix this problem, or I might fix my problem. And I'd also like to know what your suggestions are. It's been my life experience that women are brilliant. Because of their makeup, they have a different outlook. And it may not be that in every situation her idea is right, but because she's a woman and she looks at the world from a woman's perspective, she'll add a color and an insight that's different that may go, oh my God, the way you just brought up that part of the problem makes me realize I need to talk to this kind of expert. Do you see, what it does is it creates an expansion of possibilities of ways to handle the problem. And that's why you bring her into it. Because again, your job is to make the best decision possible. So you pull from the experts in your life. And if you don't think she's one, then you better dump her right away. Like, get out. And I'm not saying she's the problem. I'm saying it's one of two things. It's either you're filled with anger and resentment and you're taking it out on her and she doesn't deserve that, and you're too lacking in confidence, trust, integrity, respect, and maturity to leave, and so you're just playing the victim and blaming her and just destroying her soul, or you're too detached and lack all of this to recognize that you're with an incredibly gifted, talented woman and you're not even using her strengths. So it's either one of those, and I suggest as a man, you fix that immediately. Finally, after doing all of that, you sit her down and you say, look, after gathering all the information, here's the decision I'm making, and here's why I'm making that decision. Now, it might be your decision, the one you came up, one of your original ideas. It could be this expert's, that expert's. It could be her idea. It could be an amalgamation of everyone's. It doesn't matter. What matters is, after thinking it all through, you make the decision what you think is the best of possible worlds. Now, in every decision, there are potholes. And she may really disagree with you and go, I think you should do this. Well, here's how you handle it. You let her know, I appreciate that. And you might be right. But I think this is the best decision possible. And I'm going to take this. And then you take action on it immediately. You don't put it off. Now, I know, men, you're worried. You're sitting there going, but Kenny, I've done that, and they still blame me. Well, I'd question, did you really follow that model? But here's what I mean by a woman doesn't need you to be perfect. Let's say, in the original situation, she had an idea. You chose something different, and it turns out she was right. Like, had you used her suggestion, the outcome would have been completely different, but now you've got a whole new set of problems. Well, what are you supposed to do? What's step one? Honey, I realized something. Your suggestion would have avoided all of this. Now we have an even bigger problem, or now we have this new problem. And I want to tell you that I feel terrible that I didn't take your suggestion. But I want to go through the process again, and I'm going to do the best I can to make the best decision. That's when a woman will stop being your mother and become your lover. She doesn't need you to be perfect. What she needs is to see you act like a man. Show that you have confidence. You can admit, man, I screwed up. I'm human. And it doesn't make me less of a man or less of a person. Actually, my ability to walk in here and say, you're right, shows how much trust and belief I have in myself that I'm willing to own that you were right. You see what else that shows? My word and who I am is trustworthy. She doesn't have to check up on you. What do mothers do? Checking up on the kid, making sure he's not breaking the rules or doing something wrong. Well, you just walked right in there and said, boom, you don't have to check up on me. I'm doing that job. It's mine. I don't need you to be my mother. I want you as my lover. So I check up on me, and you were right. I made a mistake. She doesn't have to be your mother anymore. What else does that show? You have immense integrity because you're willing to call yourself out. And talk about respect. if I can respect myself that severely or that adequately, that I love myself enough to take ownership that you were right, and I'm not fazed by it, I can own it. And I can be that trustworthy and walk right in and I can show you that integrity. Man, if I respect myself that much, what does that mean about her? We can't give the woman in our life respect if we don't have it for ourselves. So do you see? Why would she need to be your mother? Do you see how you're knocking down all the bricks on her wall, all of her fear? It's all gone because your actions are proving you're literally building a brick wall of total integrity and power that says, look, I'm the man in your life and I'm pretty damn good. And I know you can see it because look how I'm handling this. And she'll melt like butter. And that shows you're mature. She's not with a little boy. She's with a man. And you want to talk, at least in my experience, when I've had this conversation in front of women, like they just salivate. They just, oh my God, that's the man I want. Now women, if you don't have this in your life, look, I'll say this as lovingly as I can. If you're allowing poor behavior, the problem is not the man in your life. It's that you didn't demand this, that you allowed him to skip these steps. We train people how to treat us. And if men are not following this formula, now there's a caveat. Most men are never taught how to be a man and how to act this way. So they're not responsible for that. But if you were to take this video and you're sitting down with him and showing them right now, and he shows any sign of, oh, that's silly, I don't want to do it, you better leave. You better get the hell out. Because that is not a man. This is someone who wants to be boy, wants to stay the victim and blame you. So you get to decide. If you stay from this point, you have made the choice to be his mother, not his lover, not his wife, not his partner. You are choosing a lack of intimacy. He is no longer the problem. The rest of your life that you're with him, you can't call your girlfriends, your friends, or post on people about how terrible he is. Because you have just made the decision that you don't want to be with a man, you want to be with a little boy. That is not his fault. You're allowing it. Vice versa. Men, if the woman in your life will not recognize how powerful this is, how much integrity and how beautiful this is, these 5 steps are, and if they see them as degrading or they don't recognize them in any way, then you better move on as well, because you have somebody who's in so much pain, they're not capable of relationship. So do you see, I'm not pointing the finger at anyone. I'm advocating both sides take responsibility for the part they play and both sides get in truth. That's called relationship. And this is what's different than all the relationship coaches out there that I've seen. I watch their stuff and it drives me crazy. Because all of them teach men aren't supposed to ever admit they're wrong. They need to be in power. Like both sides, it's these manipulative power dynamics. What they've basically said is, I get it. Both men and women are dysfunctional and broken. So instead of teaching them how to heal that, like I'm teaching you, and dealing with the root cause, childhood trauma and all this, we don't want that. What we're going to do is we're going to lie to them. And tell them they're the victim and the other one's the problem. Here's how you manipulate them and control them from the victim position. All right? And you get to either be the love addict or the love avoidant, but you're both codependent. And I'm going to teach you how to manipulate their codependence in your favor. That's what, when I watch relationship coaches, relationship programs, that's what they teach. Here's how to manipulate and use your partner. That's not relationship. I have no interest in that dynamic. What I'm teaching you is how to create love and intimacy. None of that other stuff works. You may be in a relationship, but do you have this? I bet you don't. Not with that. Let's get to step 2. Listen. Listen empathetically. Again, men, if you can't do this, you don't want or deserve a woman. If you think it's silly, emotions are weak, then you're a little boy. Now, in your defense, it may have been because you were raised improperly, and a lot of men are sent that message: boys don't cry, emotions are, all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying you have to cry on her shoulder all day. That's not what any of this is about. What this is about is learning how to be present and in a relationship. So, here are my suggestions, and this is women, let me finish before you hate me. I say this all the time. When women are speaking, don't listen to a thing they say. Men are like, yeah, I love it. But women, hold on here before you string me by my toes. What I mean is this. Don't listen to the facts of what a woman says, because what a woman is primarily doing when they speak, they're using everything, all their communication, the facts, all of it is meant to tell you about their emotional condition. And what trips men up is they listen to the facts and then they respond back to the facts, and the woman's like, what? You didn't even listen to me. It's because she doesn't need your help with the facts. She's already smarter than you in many cases, and that could be pandering. Some women are smarter than men. But in most cases, women are smart enough for themselves that they don't need a man to answer for themselves, all right? And what they're after isn't a solution. They're after intimacy. They're after connection. They want to know, is he confident enough to be present with me? Can I trust him with my feelings? Does he have the integrity to stretch and grow as a human being and be there for me emotionally and show me, does he respect himself enough and that he cares enough about his own feelings to listen to mine? And is he emotionally mature? And that's what empathetic listening does, is it's showing her all of that. I'm here to be safe and I'm committed in this relationship. So when a woman is talking, for instance, God, my boss today, and she goes off and he did this and this and this, and then he tried to manipulate me this way and this way. In general, the man's sitting there going, oh, well, all she has to do is this, and she can skirt around him, and then they're going to tell her how to do that. Wait, don't. Men, please don't. Don't. Instead, what you want to do is take all of her information, and as you're listening, you're paying attention to what are the key emotional moments she's describing. Sadness, frustration, fear, anger. What are they? You're looking for those markers, all right? And then you're looking for, as she's talking about the problem, you're looking for how can I create questions to walk her into the answer. So it looks like something like this. Wow, sounds like the way your boss was treating you, you had a lot of big feelings today. I think I heard like you're frustrated and a little bit sad and scared and perplexed and really confused. Am I hearing that right? Yeah, was there anything else? Did I miss? Well, I'm also, oh yeah, that's right, you did, because, okay, that's right. Well, that just sounds overwhelming. So what do you think you're going to do about that? Like I heard you say, he's manipulating you here, here, and here. What do you think your options are? How are you going to navigate that to be able to, deal with such big feelings over here, but also get yourself out of that bind he's placed you in? What kind of options do you think you have? Now you ask me, you tell me, is she going to want to be your mother after that, or is she going to want to grab you by the hand and take you up to the bedroom? Ladies, chime in, right? That's a man who respects you and is there for you. And once you process things out, you're going to feel incredibly close to him and be much more open and available to intimacy. All right? So men, the key is don't get caught up on the facts. You're listening to try and find out what she's feeling. And then what you're trying to do is whatever her struggle is, turn everything into a question that walks her into the answer. Trust her. Believe in her. Show her that you believe in her by allowing her to come to the conclusion that works best for her. And you can end it with, is there anything else you need from me? How can I support you? No, you did a great job. And then you know what she's going to give you, guys? And women, this is a big misunderstanding. Well, I've talked about the big, strong, burly man and how women love that and everything. There's a huge lie that we've all been taught about relationships. We've all been taught that Women are the emotional ones and men are stoic, and that's just not true. I've noticed this ever since I was a child. Men require an incredible amount of emotional affirmation. Men will die and quit on you and crawl up and become the little boy if they are not recognized. Women, in general, they have their girlfriends to support them and show them, oh, no, great, I'm on your side. Like, they do that very well. But you want to strip a man of his soul? And after he's done something like that, like the first part where he owned his mistakes and the second part where he listened empathetically, and you don't come up to him and look him deep in the eyes and go, my God, thank you. You are one sexy man. I love it the way you love me. That man will melt. He is butter. You own him the rest of your life. That's what a man needs. That's all he needs. That's the mother. But that's a lover that's coming from the voice and the position of the lover. That's what he needs. He needs to be recognized by the lover in you. And so when he does this, when he steps up to the plate, don't put conditions on it. Well, he didn't do it right last time. Don't do that to him. That's what a mother does. Don't be his mother. Recognize him. Give him the credit he deserves. Okay? Now, let's move to step number 3. I said all that. Strive for your potential. The first thing, men, is you have to recognize. I just said all that. But stop asking her to give you credit and patting you on the back. That's your job. See, that's the problem is men will, it's true, we need all that. We are just such little boys who need affirmation and attention that we will place ourselves and our wife or girlfriend into that mothering role and then blame her for it. Well, guys, we have to learn to do that for ourselves. We have to go out there and slay that beast. That's our job. If we use the first 5, the 5 steps to owning our things and we listen empathetically and she doesn't know it, then it's our job. Remember, we put a plan in place. We go address it. We get a support group of men around us. We call, hey, John, I just killed it with my wife and she didn't even notice it. Can you just remind me how great I am? And you're sitting there going, I'd never call my friend and do that. Well, then you're probably married to a mother because you don't know how to be empathetic enough. You're not secure enough in yourself. You're not confident enough and don't have enough self-integrity and self-respect to have men in your life that are powerful and strong enough for you to share your heart with. That's striving for your potential. A man living in his full potential seeks the full potential in every area of his life, not just his career, not just in athletics, the typical male thing, but in his heart, in his soul, in his emotions, his intellect, every aspect of his life. He's striving for his potential. He's looking at his weaknesses, at his denial, at his imperfections, and he's addressing them before she points them out because he wants a lover. He doesn't want a mother. That's the man's job, to strive for potential. And ladies, if you are with a man who's not striving for his potential, that's about you. And so ladies, you have to decide, do you want to be a mother or a lover? Because if you're allowing poor behavior, if you haven't asked or trained your man that this is what it requires to be in a relationship with me. Now, in your defense, most people aren't taught that these are the things we need in a relationship. But you need to sit down and go, hey, we need to have a talk. There's got to be a new sheriff in town. There are new rules. And so remember, we're both looking, the blame game and the victim game is over. It's no longer about pointing the finger at the other one. Both sides get into truth and responsibility. Both take ownership of the part they're playing and both put a plan in place to deal with their side of it. All right? Final thing with men on this. Men tend to talk about their dreams. The key with a woman is take action on your dreams. That's what she wants. Again, women don't need us to be perfect. What they need is to see that we have a process in place that we follow. And when we fall off the horse and make mistakes, that we always go back to the process. Is there a behavior that we can trust? Like when I work with couples, and maybe there was an affair, there's some sort of break in the relationship. Whichever side feels, the offended one, I tell them, ignore everything they say, watch their actions. Their actions tell you everything. If their actions show that they're doing the work, you've got a chance. You also have a partner who's committed to the relationship. And so that's why for both men and women, these three things are incredibly critical. If you notice, there's a key theme to all of them. Your actions matter more than your words. Okay? So if you're looking for more suggestions like this, more help with this, go to my website, www.kennyweiss.net. You can go to my recommended reading. I have tons of books on relationship dynamics with direct links to purchase them right there. I have my blogs with articles, what to do if you're with a love addict, love avoidant, codependent, all of these relationship dynamics. You can dive deeper in that. If you want to get serious, real serious about fixing this, then sign up for my Emotional Mastery Method, my masterclass. It's only $47 a month. A direct link to that. A link to my private group or my private coaching where I can, if you're a couple and men, you need me to teach you how to do this, or women, you need my help teaching you how to teach your husband or boyfriend to do this. Or if you're a couple and you want to learn together, you want to save your relationship, you're tired of the manipulative stuff that all the dating coaches teach and the codependence and all those things, and you want true intimacy and relationship, all of those links and information can be found on my website. Once again, that's kennyweiss.net. And as always, enjoy the journey.